So are Democrats or Republicans winning the culture war? Let's talk about it in today's video. Hi, I'm Mike Greiner. I'm a lifelong Democratic activist who's concerned about the direction our country is taking. I'm also a lawyer and an academic, and I'm here to help you stand up to the BS of the MAGA crowd. So you don't need to look far to see how the Republicans are going all in on their culture wars. I mean, they even blamed wokeness for the failure of the Silicon Valley Bank, something that's absurd that I dealt with in another video. But just check out some of their initiatives here, the things that they're prioritizing legislatively. I mean, in Kentucky, they actually overrode the veto of the governor, attacking trans people, doing things like stopping school districts from calling trans youths by their preferred name, and putting gag orders on schools on what they can discuss. I'll tell you, if ever there were a vulnerable group in our society, it would be trans teenagers. And the fact that the Kentucky legislature is targeting them really says something about the level of cruelty of these individuals. But that's not all. We always hear about how the QAnon conspiracy theory is directed at trying to stop child trafficking. So what kind of child trafficking are they stopping? Well, according to Idaho, they're stopping children from being able to cross state lines to get abortions. And the trafficking we're talking about here is likely not the same kind of trafficking that the QAnon supporters had in mind. Imagine if you've got a young girl who's been sexually abused and is trying to abort the baby that was conceived as a result of this abuse, and the fact that she then crosses the border to a state that allows her to get an abortion suddenly makes her a criminal engaged in abortion trafficking. So if you thought that Republicans had gone as far as they can with the culture wars, they're just getting started. But as it turns out, we've got some polling data that indicates that these policies they're proposing might not be playing as well in Peoria as they think. I mean, if there's anybody who's associated himself with the culture wars in America, it's Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who proudly states that Florida is the state where woke goes to die, and whose proudest accomplishment is his Don't Say Gay legislation. Well, as it turns out, what polling from YouGov found is that when you tell DeSantis supporters about some of his proposals, his support actually goes down. In other words, they find out about these culture war issues, and they like him less. In fact, after hearing about his policies, his support dropped among his strongest supporters, the people who said that they will vote for him, by almost 12 points. What are some of the issues that hurt DeSantis? Well, they'd be allowing people to carry a concealed firearm without a license or safety training. In other words, even DeSantis supporters want some level of gun control, and his insistence that guns should be available to everybody all the time, no matter what, is something that even his supporters don't favor. And one that's particularly unpopular is his policy of granting political appointees the power to fire tenured faculty members at public colleges. That was net nearly 40 points to the negative. So if DeSantis is hoping that these issues are going to deliver him to the White House, I think he's strongly mistaken. And we see that in other research as well. I mean, according to a poll conducted by NORC at the University of Chicago, 56% of Americans said that our society either has been about right or has not gone far enough in accepting transgender individuals. On the issue of promoting equality between men and women, you have 86% of Americans who say that the woke position is either about right or has not gone far enough. And on the question of schools and universities taking steps to promote racial and ethnic diversity, guess what? By a 67 to 30% margin, people are in favor of the woke position. And even when we talk about the issue of pronouns, which has become a hot topic lately, 58% of Americans said either they were neutral or in favor of using the specified gender pronoun for an individual. And finally, when people were asked what concerns them most about their schools, 61% said they were more concerned about some schools may ban books and censor topics that are educationally important, as opposed to 36% who worried more that some schools may teach books and topics that some students or their parents feel are inappropriate or offensive. In other words, Americans favor the liberal woke position. That's why Republicans are so afraid to define it, because when it's defined, Americans favor it. The best thing we can do when Republicans try to throw the four-letter word woke at us is to have them say, well, what specifically is it that you are against? Because when they define that, suddenly it doesn't play so well with Americans. Well, if you want to see another video where I talk about the lengths that Ron DeSantis has gone to attack African American studies programs in schools, check out this video over here. I'll see you then. In the meantime, let's hope for continued progress. Thank you.